you go. Yay!
There we go.
Perfect. How are you today?
Very good.
Awesome. How's been your day going so far?
It's been pretty nice considering it's about 100 degrees in the valley in LA right now.
That's so crazy. Wow. Wow, that's
definitely warm for June gloom, but
yeah, absolutely. I bet. But it's nice, right? I mean, having warm days now, I think it's
oh, absolutely. I mean, it is. Oh, sorry. I have like I'm still getting used to all of this. It's nice having warm days. It is interesting having just, it's like fairly chilly, and then the next day is just scorching. So trying to balance out my wardrobe and when I should bring out my blow up kiddie pool, like when that's all needed. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. So let's get started. So, but first of all, I think that you're an amazing, super talented person.
Oh, thank you.
But tell me, how did your passion for acting started? Was it something you always wanted, or was it something that you discovered like along the way?
I mean, I know if you asked my family, I was definitely always the dramatic one. I'm one of 6 kids. I have 4 brothers and a sister. So I think I always had a dramatic side to me. Anytime a camera came out, I was, performing in front of it or wanting pictures taken. But for me, like, it was in grade school. 5th grade is when I first really found that I loved doing it. I auditioned for in grade school. I auditioned for a play called Oliver, and I loved the audition process. I ended up getting cast as Oliver, and I was like, and performed on stage, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, people do this for a living. This is the coolest thing ever. And so literally from 5th grade on, it was every year I was auditioning and in musicals and plays. And I was also doing sports, but as I went into high school and then college, the sports slowly faded, and theater is what just kept going. And I was like, I still want to be a part of this. And I went out to New York for school, kept doing theater. And then from there, I actually auditioned back in my hometown of Chicago for a feature film, which was like first ever. And that was in college. And once I got that, I was like, oh, there's more to acting than just theater. And that's when I learned about film. And then I my brain exploded and went,
of course.
Oh, I can go out to LA and do film and TV. And, and then 5 years ago, I learned about motion capture and video games. So
that's so cool.
Since I was in 5th grade, every couple of years, something new has exploded and something new has come about to go, oh, there's more to acting. Like, there are more facets to acting that you can do. And it's been so amazing.
Yeah, of course. So pretty much on 5th grade, that was a trigger to start your whole career.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. It was definitely grade school that I really first latched on to acting. Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice. And what is the thing that you like the most about acting?
I think for me, the whole reason that acting really attracted me and I really fell in love with it was this idea of entertaining other people.
Okay.
Like, I have bad days.
Of course.
I have days where like, I don't want to work, or I don't want to talk to people, or like, I'm just kind of like not having a good day. And for me, my release is going to Disney movies and podcasts, and I have something to take me out of my life.
Yeah.
And from a young age, I was like, this is what I want to be. I know how good I feel when I can step away from my life for an hour. I want to do that for other people. So the idea of being an actor and giving that entertainment, whether it be on the stage, on the TV, on the big screen, on a video game, I'm able, like, when people are like, okay, I can't handle the craziness of life.
Yeah.
They can come to me and something I helped create, and that brings them away from it. Like, that is the greatest compliment. That is the most exciting thing for me.
Of course.
Is realization of, like, I'm ultimately doing what I set out to do from a young age, which is just give people an exit, give people entertainment and enjoyment, and that just, like, step away and, like, step into fantasy for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just enjoy, and just to be like, all right, I'm good. Like, I can be happy for an hour or two, and then I'll deal with my real life later.
That's so cool. And I always wondered, how do you prepare for an audition? I mean, is there, for example, on your case, do you have like a go-to meal before, or do you listen to a song in order to, like, you know, to get the hype going, or how do you prepare normally?
I mean, I don't have any superstitions. I think maybe with sports I did, like before a big track meet or something.
Yeah.
That was 20 plus years ago. With acting, I think the biggest thing for me is just, you know, I get those sides, I read through them, I work on them with my husband to try and, you know, just get that feel for what they're looking for, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think, as silly as it sounds, my biggest thing with audition is going to the bathroom before. I'm like a nervous peer.
Yeah, okay.
So,
okay.
for me, like, before I have to go to a big audition or do a big audition at home with a self-tape, it's always like, before I go in front of the camera, it's like, okay, see you real quick. I'm just like, it's a weird thing. Really, it's a nervous thing, and it just goes to you know, I'm just human. I'm normal like you. Like, I get nervous at times. I get excited. You know, it's
that's really funny, actually.
So, yeah, I'm a nervous peer.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a job interview. So totally.
Yeah,
I get it.
But the best thing is, it's a job interview where sometimes you get like a second take. So it's like you have the job interview, and then they go, okay, that was really good, but how about we do it again? And this time, you know, you're a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more.
Yeah, okay. Like, true. Yeah, absolutely. Which is worse, because the second interview, I mean, on a regular job interview, the second one is with the boss. So you're even like more nervous than usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, with acting, usually it's one and done. Like, you get that one chance, you send it, and done. If you're lucky, somebody will give you feedback and you'll do another take for the audition, which is really nice. With self-tapes, which is, because of COVID, what the world has become, it's become a little bit more, you know, one and done. You do the self-tape and that's it. They only want one take.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes they say, send us 2 different takes, which is like, yay, awesome, I can show them 2 different sides of me. But a lot of times they just want the one, and you're not going to get the feedback, and so that's difficult. I definitely miss in-person audition. But it's the world that we're in now, and it's you know, it takes some getting used to, and I slowly am.
Yeah, but absolutely. Yes, I mean, I think with the whole COVID stuff, everything, that the fact that it went online, it helped the fact that it's now like more comfortable. But especially like with interviews and everything. I mean, it happened to me recently that I was having like a job interview, and then out of the nowhere, I have three dogs. So one of them he's like huge, but like really huge. So since I'm right next to the window, and every time someone comes, he will just go to the window. I mean that's his usual. But I forgot to close the door. So what he did. Someone was coming by, and I was like in the middle of the interview with the boss, and then you can see like the dog just like woof, like jumping through, went to the window and watched, and of course I lost the job. But I was like, well, that happens though.
I know. It takes getting used to. It's like
totally.
You turn a camera on and you're like, what can be seen?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And if you could describe your career so far with only one word, which one you will use?
Ooh, one word. Adventurous?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would go adventurous because, I started in theater, which is very different. Through high school and college, really stuck to theater. While I was in college, I started doing live action stunt shows at a theme park. From there, I got my first indie feature film. Then I decided to move out to LA, and it was, I've been out in LA for 11 years.
Wow.
And it has been a lot of little tiny things and maybe one thing, and dropped by agents and picked up by new agents, and honestly, Resident Evil is the biggest thing, and was my first foray into video games and motion capture and voiceover, which is such a new realm to acting, which is awesome. Like when I moved out to LA 11 years ago, I didn't know this existed. Like video games, motion capture, voiceover, like I didn't know it existed. Voiceover in my mind was Disney animated films.
Of course. Oh, okay.
So it just, the fact that there's so much more to it, I had no idea. And it was really amazing once I got this seeing, it's not just like voiceover in a booth. You have the chance to create the character by doing motion capture. Then, the aspect that I didn't get to do, but another actor got to do, or model, was the people who modeled the actual characters.
Okay,
So I see sometimes people saying like, "Oh, Mia doesn't even look like her," and it's like, they didn't model it after me. Yeah. I did the motion capture and the facial capture. So like my face movements are on
someone else. Person. Yeah,
but it's somebody completely different. Like I've never done that, so I know that's a whole nother thing that maybe someday I can do. Who knows? Yeah. So it's really cool, just that expansion of the entertainment industry that I even now am still learning about, and that's been really, really cool for sure.
Yeah, and like the whole technology thing that has been going on. I mean, like looking back, video games, for example, like 20 years ago, they were all like pixelated and everything, and you will still be scared or getting scared from games because you were like, that looks so real, right? And now we have like all these animations, and I mean, as you said, that the whole motion capture, that, and the fact that you are acting, but then there's people behind with a computer designing the whole character to actually make the movement, the graphics, and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's such an amazing job. Yeah.
And you realize how many people are involved in it.
Yeah, of course.
There's just the animators, the cameramen, like the sound. Like, there's so, I never could have imagined how many people are involved in something. You have a scene with just 2 actors in a video game, and there are 20 plus people on the outside doing their job. So it really, as an actor, I mean, I went to school for the behind the scenes. Like, I wanted to be an actor, but I knew when I went to school, I was like, I want to learn about the behind the scenes so I have a better understanding of both sides. And, you know, that's only so much. And then with being part of this game, I got to see a whole nother behind the scenes, and that realization of how many people are involved, what goes into it, how many years it takes. Mind-boggling, and it was so great. I mean, it's the coolest thing to see.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, talking about your career, so was the internship program you had at Walt Disney World in Florida and Tokyo Disneyland your first acting job, and which character you played during that time?
So, before Disney, so I went to Walt Disney World in Florida on the college program. So I was a CP, it's a college program, and they do it twice a year, and like anybody can interview for it and apply, and there's so many different jobs you can get. So I first did that when I was in college, and it was just a very general audition, or not even audition, it was just an interview, and those were for jobs throughout the park. Like if you were going to work in a shop or at a food place, it wasn't entertainment. And while I was there, I specifically asked, I was like, oh, I heard that you can audition, you know, for this internship for specific entertainment stuff. And that's what I do. So that's what I would like to do. And they told me, oh, okay, there's entertainment auditions for the college program at different places throughout the US, and you just have to go to one of those. Okay. So I ended up traveling to one of those auditions, and I mean, it was like a full-blown, you learned dance numbers, you learned all different things, and kept having performing, and they just slowly whittled it down. And then ultimately I got cast in a it was called Tapestry of Dreams. It was a big parade at Epcot. So I spent an entire year living in Florida, you know, literally 6 days a week performing this parade. But then from there, they open it up to anytime they have auditions, anybody can go to them. So even though I was there through college, getting college credit, I could still go to auditions. So I got to go to auditions for other stuff, other parades. And I went, I became a roller skating snowflake.
Okay.
In one of the parades, which is really cool. Christmas time, you know, I got to put on roller skates and be a snowflake. I was friends with a bunch of furry characters, which is really fun. But then from there, they had Tokyo Disneyland audition. So I went to one of those as a joke with one of my friends, because we thought there's no way in the world we'll ever get this job. Because for Tokyo Disneyland, it wasn't an internship, it was an actual job. So you auditioned for it, and if you got it, like, you moved to Japan, you were literally living and working for Tokyo Disneyland. So yeah, I auditioned with it with one of my best friends, and we both went there as kind of a joke because we thought there was no way. And I ended up getting asked to stay, and she didn't. And I kind of looked at her, and she was like, have fun. So I stayed through, and ultimately I got the phone call that they wanted to hire me. So I ended up moving to Japan for a little under a year, and you know, I got to do parades and shows and all these things. Yeah, it was, I mean, I was 21 at the time, and it was such an epic experience, for sure. I mean, it was the highlight, because before that, I had never been out of the country, ever. Yeah. So that was like, okay, this is time to do something crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you went like super far, you know. So.
And I was more afraid to call my parents and tell them that I was going to leave school to do this job for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was in college, I thought my parents were going to say, no, don't, you got to stay in school. But my parents were so excited. They were like, absolutely, like, you can go back and finish school. Like, this is a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, of course.
So it was really exciting. And my mom and my two youngest siblings, Kim and Bob, they actually got to visit me in Japan while I was there, which was amazing. Getting to do my characters and show them around was just incredible. It was so much fun.
Wow. And what did you enjoy the most about working at Tokyo Disneyland?
I think the friendships I made.
Of course.
Two of my best friends, they were bridesmaids in my wedding. I was a bridesmaid in one of their weddings, and Jen and Leslie, hi. It was these really tight friendships I made within this crazy world. Yeah. Because when I went there, I was 20. I turned 21 while I was doing the job. And people working with me were anywhere from like 18 to 30, but you wouldn't know it. Everybody treated each other equally, on the same page. Nobody treated anybody like they were a kid or like an old person. It was really nice to have that, no matter what age people were, we all hung out. We wanted to do things. We wanted to experience things. And at a very, at the time, I thought I was a grown up. But now, looking back at it, I'm like, no, I was definitely a really young kid. And I got to do something so amazing.
Of course.
And I had people who helped me through it, who had lived life a little bit more than me. Not much, because they were only 30.
Yeah.
So, but, that whole experience really made me grow up.
Of course.
And also made me give a little bit more of, when I meet people who are much younger, I have this feeling of like, we're equals. Unless you prove to me that we're not, from the start, we're equals. From the beginning, equals. And I'm not going to treat you any differently unless you show me that I should. And that's kind of the biggest thing I think I learned from that experience.
Wow. And I also, I'm guessing that it also like opened your mind, right? Like to be working with people like from different backgrounds and everything, and also the fact that you are working with people like in another totally different country. I mean, the language, everything is totally different. I think that also kind of like opens your whole mind, right?
Oh, very, very much so. Oh, sorry, my phone is like freaking out right now.
It's okay.
Leaving and going to Japan was something in itself, because I had never really done anything like that before. And like I was living on my own. It like they set you up with your own place, and you got to go grocery shopping. You got to take care of yourself. You got to go to work. Like I was 20 years old being like, okay, make sure my alarm clock goes off so I can get to work, and I got to take my bike or the train. It makes you grow up real fast, but at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I really felt like it opened me up, because I'm from a smaller town in Illinois, and I had grown up with not a ton of exposure to things. So when I left and went to college, it was like baby steps. I went to Northern Illinois, which wasn't too far from where I grew up, so it wasn't too much open. But then I went to Florida Disney, which very much so opened me up.
Yeah, of course.
So many people.
Yeah. And
then I went to New York for school, and Japan. So it was just like I kept opening up and growing, and it definitely changed my views. It opened me up, and it made me want to travel more. I just the travel bug is in me so much because of all of it.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I think that once you travel abroad, it pretty much like triggers like I want to see more, you know, like I want to see more, and then you start finding like, oh, there's a cheap flight to here, let's go, and then at that point you don't care about hotels or where you're gonna sleep. You're like, yeah, I don't care. I mean, if I have to sleep on the train station, I'll do it, no problem. But let's go, stuff like that.
I've put all my bags onto a giant wheelie cart,
Yeah.
pushed it into the handicap stall of an airport, locked the door, and fallen asleep on my bags because it was 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and nothing over that. So I've done the craziness, and it's all worth it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so
like
much.
having like those experiences. I mean, they're like, yeah, they're super. Yeah, they're incredible. And at the same time, I mean, when you're having like a conversation and then you throw those stories, then it's just, you know, like setting the mood. Everyone's laughing. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think the experience itself, it's like the valuous part of the whole travel thing, you know?
Yeah, it makes such a difference. I just love it.
Absolutely. And tell me, while you were working in Tokyo Disneyland, could you share a funny story while you were like working there and everything?
I'm trying to think of any funny stories. It was always interesting, you know, because I got to the way that us Disney people put it. I was friends with a lot of different characters. So I was good friends with Belle and Cinderella and Esmeralda.
Wow. Yeah.
And the Evil Queen and Cruella de Vil. So I got to be friends with lots of people, which was really cool. The funniest, I think most of the funny stuff happened not on the clock.
Okay.
Because, you know, a lot of us who were hired, we were brought over to Japan, and they have a place called E-Village, which is Entertainment Village. That's where they set everyone up. So we all live in this same huge complex. And so we all lived in this place. So we all got to, you know, really hang out together and do things with each other outside of work, which was really fun. And they had this conference room. So we would always hold parties in the conference room. And when you have hundreds and hundreds of entertainers,
okay,
the parties are not going to be regular parties. They're going to be themed parties. They are always themed parties. So by far, my favorite themed party was, we had a Drop Dead Gorgeous themed party. So for all of you youngins out there, if you have not watched the movie Drop Dead Gorgeous, go watch it. It is amazing, hysterical. If you want to see beauty pageantry at its finest, watch this movie. So we had a big party, and everybody showed up wearing sashes, and they made up, you know, ridiculous stuff to put on the sashes.
Wow. Okay.
And this was on our days off.
I'm gonna throw a party on my day off. Why not?
I mean, so much fun. So that was probably one of my best memories, was that party.
Wow, that's really cool. Wow. And you know, during the gameplay you had with Nicole Tompkins, which I hope that I have an interview with her soon. Anyway, you mentioned that while working at Tokyo Disneyland, that you climbed Mount Fuji. So can you tell me more about that experience? I mean, how difficult was it, and were you able like to reach, you know, the top, or how was it there?
Yes, so I did climb Mount Fuji. I did it with 2 other castmates, so Leslie and Juan. Love you guys. Those are my Mount Fuji buddies. So the 3 of us decided, so we didn't realize at the time that climbing Mount Fuji, you're only supposed to do it in a set amount of time because of weather. And we were just like, oh, everybody's doing it. like, this is amazing. I want to do it. So we decided to do it, not realizing that the day we climbed was the last day that you could climb Mount Fuji because typhoon season was about to start.
Okay. Why not?
We climbed it, and about halfway up, the weather started.
Yeah.
So it started really windy. It started raining horribly. It was getting more and more difficult to keep climbing. It became like we were literally like rotating because there were 3 of us, and we were just like, we have to keep going. When are we going to get somewhere where we can like get out of the rain? I mean, it started good and became miserable.
Okay.
So we finally got to a place that people told us that, because ahead of time people told us like, okay, these are the different spots that you reach while you're climbing. So usually most people take a bus, and you start about I think halfway on Mount Fuji is where most people start the climb. That's like where the buses go. So that's where you start. You go into the shop, you buy your, hiking stick.
That's so cool.
And then you start climbing, and it takes, they say you're supposed to climb through the night so that you reach the top by sunrise, because you want to walk.
Like the whole sunrise, okay.
Yeah, so you want to give yourself about 6-7 hours before sunrise to climb. So we were pumped. We were ready to do it. It was awesome. It became miserable. By the time we made it to the Noodle Shack, it's basically a hotel and restaurant, and it's the only bathrooms on Mount Fuji that you find. So by the time we made it there, we were soaking wet. My headlamp had gone out.
My God.
So I actually had to have one of my friends stay with me because batteries had died. So I needed a light because it was pitch black. My girlfriend, we could see her light shifting back and forth because the wind was literally blowing her.
Oh, what?
You could see her blowing, and I was like, please don't blow off the mountain. Like, please don't blow off.
Yeah, of course not. What?
So we made it to the Noodle Shack. We stayed there for as long as they would allow it because we didn't have a reservation because we didn't plan on staying the night there.
Okay.
So we used the bathroom. We ate a bunch of noodles, and we stayed as long as we could. And then it was like, okay, time to go. So we kept going. We ended up making it to the top before it was technically open.
Okay.
So us and a ton of other people were crowded together at this door, banging on it, praying, like hoping someone would let us in because it was so wet and so cold.
My God.
We finally got let in. We warmed up. We got like our official stamp because the stick that you climb with, every point on the mountain, you hit houses and they stamp your stick, which is awesome. I have this amazing stick that shows that I climb Mount Fuji. So
yeah, that's really cool. That's super cool.
It's amazing. I'll never do it again. But I did it. It's like funny. I did it. I'm good.
That's so awesome.
We made it to the top. We warmed ourselves by the fire. And the 3 of us talked. We're like, do we want to keep going? Because we thought we weren't at the top.
Yeah.
And we were like, I think this is it. Like, I think we have to stop. Like, I just don't know. So we ended up finishing and going back down, which only took about 2.5. So it's like 6.5 to get up, 2.5 to get down. Once we got down and told people where we were, they were like, oh, you guys were at the top. Like, that place was the top. So we didn't.
What?
It was so overcast and cloudy because of the storm and the rain.
Of course.
We didn't know we were at the top.
That's so crazy. Huh. So at the end, you were there and you didn't know that. Cool.
We 100% had no idea that we had made it to the top. We thought we had made it to the noodle station, which actually was the one below us. Like, we We had no idea.
That's so awesome. And like the whole climbing gear, they rented for you, right? I mean, you didn't like bought the whole gear, or?
So you don't need climbing gear because the mountain itself, for the most part, it's like a zigzag trail.
Okay.
So you can get a stick to help you, but you don't need like legit rock climbing gear. There are a few areas where like we had to climb rocks, but it wasn't something where like, oh, I need to be attached to a rope to make sure I don't fall. Like nothing that steep or that difficult. It's made so that, you know, anybody can do it, which was really cool. It's just we chose a really crappy time of year to do it.
Yeah, of course. And you also mentioned that there was like this little chain, right, that you can hold, but it was that, but at the moment you were there, that while you were climbing, that there was like this little chain in which you could like hang for a bit and continue.
So all along, like it was zigzag, and at parts where the zigzag would go, you know, off a cliff or the mountain, quite frankly, they definitely had a chain, but the chain was knee-level.
Okay.
It was not a chain that like you could hold. It was a chain to kind of stop you, and that's why when we would watch our friend's light just going back and forth, we were so worried about her.
Wow.
She was this tiny little thing, and you just saw her blowing back and forth, and you're like, please don't go over the chain.
My God.
Please help you.
Wow. I mean, that must have been like a really epic experience for sure.
It definitely was. It definitely was.
Yeah, of course. And at some point, are we gonna see that stick?
It is currently in Chicago with my parents, so I will someday have it travel to LA so I can have it in my home, because I am definitely proud of it. I am very proud of it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's so cool. Wow, yeah. I mean, as soon as you get it, you definitely need to put it, you know, definitely, because
I'll probably take a picture of me holding it, very, very proud.
Absolutely. Wow, such an epic experience for sure. Now, going back a little bit with your with your career, so you did several movies, right? You did from Riff Raff to One Dead Party and Alone in the Dead of Night. Tell me, did you took anything of those like from those roles you have? You took anything to make Mia?
I think definitely there were parts, because in Alone in the Dead of the Night and One Dead Party, you know, One Dead Party, I played kind of a zombie coming back to life, you know, life. So there were pieces of that I could use. Same with Alone in the Dead of the Night. I played a very, you know, you can barely see it in the film. It was just this demonic image, basically. So for those, you know, I definitely took that vibe of demonic, possessed, contortion, those different things. Riff Raff, that's a coming of age, you know, high school, college comedy. So not as much from that one.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, and you know, while I was doing like the whole research and everything, I did watch Alone in the Dead of Night, and yes, I mean, when you see like this kind of the demonic monster, I was like, yeah, that's me over there. Yeah, like okay.
Definitely gives you that vibe of that just creepy thing coming at you. Yeah.
And about that movie, so you pretty much recorded in a house. I mean, how difficult might have been like to switch between scenes and not to like how you guys were able like to distribute the whole, pretty much like the whole movie between like like pretty much in a house.
Yeah, I mean, Alone in the Dead of Night was pretty much, the entire thing was filmed in an apartment.
In an apartment, there we go. An apartment.
So everything was worked out because, you know, I did play that character, but I also helped on the special effects makeup.
Yeah.
So it was definitely interesting because it's an indie film. So it was a lot of, they're shooting here, and me and Christine, who also did, Christine Tresick, who did the makeup on it also, the two of us were like hiding away in a bathroom trying to do the makeup for the next scene. So it's very like guerrilla style filming, and just trying to keep quiet where quiet needs to be and shoot the thing, and making sure to separate scenes of like, okay, here are these important ones that we need to do, and we don't want the noise of this, so we need to make sure this is on a different day. So it was just kind of planning things out in that sense of shooting here. Like there are certain days where I was just on set doing the makeup, and then the other days where I was on set getting the makeup, helping get the makeup on myself to shoot. So it was just balancing out and working on that, which was
really cool. Wow.
Indie film.
Of course. And now that I mentioned Mia, how did Resident Evil 7 happen? And what was your reaction when you knew that you were going to be in a Resident Evil game?
So, getting Resident Evil 7 was a surprise. I saw a casting call for a video game, and they were looking for a, 5'7" Caucasian woman to play a possessed zombie-like character. So I just submitted myself because I was like, oh, this would be so much fun.
Of course.
Like in my mind, I submitted myself just because I thought like, if I get the chance, this could be so much fun.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough. I got the audition and went in, and I really didn't know what to expect because I had never done motion capture. So it was a very physical audition because they want to see that you can move, you can emote, like so many different things. So I did that. They called me back for, a more toned down, normal version of the character. They ended up casting me. And it wasn't until about a year into actually shooting the game.
Yeah, of course.
That I found out that it was Resident Evil. So I shot for about 2 years, and it was a good year and a half when I found out that how big this game was.
Yeah, of course. Wow. So they didn't tell you at all. I mean, right? At the release, you knew that it was Resident Evil.
So for 7, it was a year and a half into shooting when it came out that it was a Resident Evil game. For that, I just thought it was a cool video game that I was working on. Like, no big deal. And because I didn't recognize any of the characters, any of the things, it was just like, oh, this is a really cool, horror video game. And then during a table read, Umbrella and Chris Redfield came into it, and all of us were like,
wait a minute.
What? So we found out. So then when it came time for Resident Evil Village, it was just that. It was, they gave me the call, and they're like, okay, so you and Todd are the only ones who are really going to know what this game is, because we're bringing back your characters. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
My character survived and came back. This is amazing.
Wow. And while doing the Resident Evil 7, you did the mocap. That was the first time you were you wore the spandex suit, right? Now, how was it wearing that spandex suit for the first time? And how do you prepare for for a scene? I mean, do they guide you a little bit, or they pretty much tell you have to do this and you? I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that do they guide you the whole time, or they let you improvise a little bit?
I mean, it's a mix of both.
Okay.
So there's always a director there. So
of course.
It's just like film or TV or stage. Like there's still the director focusing you in on what they want from the scene. But then you also have Capcom and the motion capture team going, okay, this is the world that you have to live in. So for instance, the scene in 7 where Ethan first finds Mia, it's a small cell. She's on a bed. So you have to work within those confines without realistically being in those confines. So we're in a huge open space and a bed is created, but we have to remember to say like, okay, here's the bed, here's the space, here's where the door or the cell door would be for us to leave out of. So, you know, you're given freedom for some stuff, but you're still told, okay, here's the world with which in we live. And, so you know, cool. You'll do multiple takes and see what they like out of it, with improvising and with sticking to the script and then everything. But there's still, because it's a video game and everything is created, animated, you still have to know, okay, if I go here, I'm going to look like I'm walking through a wall. I can't do that. I can't lean on this. I can't do this. So you still have to know where in the world you exist. So
wow.
It's a balance. It's a balance of the two things for sure.
Wow. And how do you prepare for Mia? I mean, did you know how she looked like from the beginning, or was it something you discovered like at the release?
I knew it before the release. I had seen images of her. So the first images I ever saw of Mia were the ghost Mia, which people got from the game. And it's like basically Mia in like a baby doll dress or like a nightie. And she'll randomly appear in places. So that was the first image I ever saw of her. And then later on, after we had shot for a little bit, is when I got the image of, you know, Mia in her typical look of her tank top jeans and her, you know, white chucks or whatever, white gym shoes she's in. So it was before the game came out that I at least knew what she looked like. Always had an idea of what she looked like, and I had a little bit of background, but yeah, it definitely kind of slowly came throughout.
Wow. And from the scenes you did in RE7 for Mia, did anyone from the set got scared? Or like, what is going on here? You know?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think they got scared in a way. I think they were more surprised. So the first time I ever was on set and got to do the really crazy Mia voice, where she switches from normal to demonic.
Yeah.
The first time I got to do that on set was when Todd and I, so basically Ethan, you know, finds Mia and she like appears and grabs him and like throws him like cross. And the first time we did that, and I did it and I yelled my line in that really deep guttural voice.
Yeah.
You know, crew members kind of being like, you know, very surprised.
Absolutely.
They weren't expecting that out of me. And I've seen people online say, oh, I thought they augmented your voice to make it demonic. And I'm like, no, that's me.
That's so crazy. I was imagining like the first thing you did, like demonic Mia, and someone from the set, like, you know, like drop in something like, oh crap, what is going on here? You know?
Yeah, it kind of was that. It was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
right
like,
now?
Okay.
It's a bit of a surprise. It was really cool because for me, anytime that I can get that kind of reaction where people assume something about me and then are surprised with what they get, I'm like, all right, that's what I want. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the scenes you did in RE7, which one is your favorite?
With RE7, I always say the screwdriver chainsaw scene is probably my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I loved working with Todd. I got to take this big dude and stab him with the screwdriver and then chop off his hand with the chainsaw. And he still wanted to save me, so it's, you know,
that's
ideal.
Crazy. And do you think Ethan at some point told Mia to never ever grab any sharp objects or tools due to the hand incident?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went through some couples therapy before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty couples therapy happened. I'm pretty sure they don't own any power tools and they just have gardeners come in for things, because I don't think he wants any of that around the house.
Yeah. I mean, not even for like, if like for cooking or something, I'd be like, no, don't. I'll do it instead. You know.
I'm surprised, even in the scene when Mia's cooking and stirring with the wooden spoon and she hits Ethan's hand, I'm surprised he wasn't like, "Ah!"
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, here we go again. Now for the right hand. Okay, so she got the left. Now let's go for the right one. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, but absolutely. I mean, and I've seen while I was doing the research, like the whole Ethan hand, pretty much that you are carrying you are carrying a hand every now and then, and you will be showing it.
Yeah, I have my hand.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And yes, I mean,
yeah, Ethan is always with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I'm still saying that scene, I think, is one of the craziest. And the fact that once your hand is chopped off, you can actually grab it. Like, I'm just going to grab my hand. Why not? And I was like, okay.
It's like, oh, it's still sitting here. Let me
grab it.
And put it in my purse for later.
Yeah. Why not? But yeah, I mean, definitely you, you pretty much got back the whole horror back, and let me tell you that it took me a while, because I suck at horror stuff, so I was like, this is what is going on here. And as I said, from going from 6 to 7, it was like whoop, like going a whole tone totally different, but it was amazing, definitely. And after the epic success you had from Resident Evil 7, what was your reaction when they told you, like, hey, you're going back for RE8?
When I got that phone call, I was kind of in shock. I mean, when the producer called me and said, we'd like to bring Mia back. We would like you to come back as Mia for Resident Evil 8. I definitely was just ultimately in shock. I was very excited. I mean, like right away,
of course,
I told my husband to be like, oh my God, like, he just called me. This is amazing.
Yeah.
At the end of 7, when Mia doesn't officially die, I was like, okay, there's hope. Maybe they'll do another game. Like, I really didn't have any expectations. I was just hopeful. And then when I got that phone call, basically 2 years later, I was like, yes, I'm in. Like, count me in. I'm ready to do it. I don't care how much, like, just let me know. And they're like, we don't know how big or how small her role is. And I was like, I don't care. Just
give it. Yeah, of course. That's so cool. But in this one, you played like a more serious Mia, right? I mean, there was no chopping at all. I mean, I was hoping like at some point she was be like, guess what? Soon, your hands back or something. But how it felt like to play from this demonic, crazy Mia to a more serious and mature Mia from 8?
I was excited that I got that opportunity. Everybody saw crazy Mia and confused Mia, but nobody really got to see like a softer side or a more emotional side of her.
Yeah, of course.
So that was really cool, getting the opportunity. I mean, within 2 games, as one actor, getting to play multiple versions of the same character is kind of amazing. I mean, as an actor, it's the ideal role. To be able for somebody to hand you something and go, okay, we want to see all these different facets of this character. Bring her to life in all of these different ways. To me, it just makes her so much more human, so much more realistic. And when I was shown that I really got to bring that family side and that emotional side to her, I was really excited. I didn't really know what fans would think, but I was kind of like, I like getting the opportunity to show it. So I was just to get the opportunity.
That's so cool. And what were the most emotionally scenes you did for RE8? And what would you think are your similarities and differences with Mia?
So I would say, you know, spoilers for anybody watching who hasn't finished the game. I would say the very last scene of the game that Mia is in was probably the most emotional for me to shoot. Because not only does it really bring this finality to things, I didn't know until I got that scene that that's how it was ending.
Of course.
So it was very emotional to know, you know, all through 7, creating this, you know, connection with Todd and Mia and Ethan having this relationship, and then in 8 continuing with, you know, Ethan wanting to save his family and protect.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the end, Mia and Ethan never get that final like goodbye.
Yeah.
That you know, it's just, it's so heartbreaking. Like it, to me, it's one of the more emotional endings to a Resident Evil game that I have seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that scene was very difficult to shoot. There were scenes with Todd that were difficult, but I think it was shooting that scene without him and knowing it's because of how it ended. That was
like the emotional.
Yeah, that pulled a lot out. A lot of emotions came on set, and even now when I watch the scenes, I get a little choked up and a little teary eyed because it's just like, wow, like I'm just still kind of trying to take it all in.
Of course.
That's where they went with it. That's what they did. Gotta breathe through it.
But you know, I think I think Capcom, they did a genius move, because when you play it for the second time, then you start to realize, oh yeah, it is true. This different. I mean, like, how did she know like a lot of local stuff if they just recently moved, like a lot of things? Because when you play the first time, you get all hyped, like, yes, it's a new one, and all of those little details. You will not see them. And right when you play the second time, then you understand. Then you start to understand like the whole, you know, like those little details that she cooked local, she read the local tale, like all of those stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, I see.
It's like a movie. You have to watch it a few times or play it a few times to be like, I missed that. How did I not see that? Like, it just looks
like all of those details. And also the fact that she was cooking that dish, that I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna super embarrass myself while trying it, but you know which I'm talking about.
I don't like saying it either.
Yeah, no. I mean, I play the R8 with a friend, and then when we saw that, he was just trying to say it, and I was like, just say it, and he was like, you try it, I'm not gonna try that, no. And while I was doing also the research, I was like, should I ask that? But I was like, no, because it is. Let's just leave it like as the dish that she was preparing, and that's it. We just leave it like that.
A really cool dish that she was preparing, that I've had people online say, why didn't you just Google it and have them say it to you? Yeah. I did. I used Google Translate. I tried to imitate what they told me. Apparently, it still was not correct because on set I was laughed at, and we had to work on it.
My God.
I'm sorry. It is difficult. I'm American. I try.
No, but I mean, that's pretty normal. I mean, when you're trying to speak like even like small words from different languages, you will think you will say them properly, but you're just embarrassing yourself, and you're like, oh, okay. But you know,
there's, usually there's something there's just something within the word where they're like, nope, this letter should be accentuated or this, and I'm like, I've literally my whole life, I have tried to learn other languages. My brain does not compute. It wants to translate things exactly, and that's not how languages work.
Wow.
I try.
And how many takes did it took to say that dish?
It took quite a few on set, and then later when we did ADR, I had to do it a couple of times again.
That's so crazy. Okay, so it took a while.
it took some. I don't know what finally made it into the game, but hopefully that was close enough.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and at the end, you have like all the graphics and all the scene going on. So you are like, I mean, to be honest, that dish was kind of what's the word, like exciting. But yeah, definitely. So let's leave it that it was like that. Yeah, but definitely that was really cool. And yeah, and also the fact that during that first scene in which Mia gets killed and everything, and then you move on with the game, and then when you realize that she wasn't, I believe that at some point, the first time I was playing it, I was like, there has to be something. I mean, I don't think they would just kill Mia like, oh, she's dead, here we go, move to the next scene. I was hoping like, and at some point I was like really, if they just ignore her and I don't see her for the rest of the game, okay, this is not right. You know what I mean?
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know originally. When they first put it out there, I got the first scene. I saw she died. I thought
that was such a bummer. Super bummer.
I remember telling my husband right off the bat, I was like, because I was all excited. I was like, oh my God, they're bringing Mia back. And I was like, will you run lines with me? And he was working on lines with me, and we got to the end, and I was like, they just kill her off. I was like, this is sad. I was so bummed. I was just like, I hope there's more to it, but let's see what happens.
Absolutely.
And then I found out that she doesn't die.
That was really cool. And the fact that Chris finds her, and then pretty much Mia is like, no, you don't leave, come back here. I was like, oh, okay, now she's gonna cut the head from Chris now.
Like I was very excited, because when we got to shoot the scene when the real Mia comes back, for real, I was excited to shoot those scenes. But at first, when we were shooting it, they're like, you've been imprisoned for X amount of months. Like, you're going to be weak. You're going to be not knowing what's going on. And so we did that route. But there was still, Mia still has that heart and that fight in her. So even though she's exhausted, she has been, a prisoner again for how long.
Yeah.
The moment that Chris is like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, good, you're alive. I'll be right back.
She's on that. She's like, no. She turns into such a mom.
Yeah.
Anybody recognizes that voice as the I'm in trouble mom voice.
Yeah.
Like, your mom has talked to you in that voice. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just leave.
No. Of course.
So I love getting to do that to Chris, because it's like this big tough dude, and I get to bring the mom hammer down on him. So
absolutely. And do you think at some point we're gonna have like I'm just charging? Give me 1 second. Let me charge the phone because it's dying. And it happened once to me, and it's super embarrassing. It's like, oh, the phone died. So here we go. Yes. So at some point, do you think that we're gonna have like a Mia Funko from Resident Evil?
Yeah, what?
Funko, you know, like those.
I hope so. I have been like trying to get Funko to like recognize tweets and stuff,
That
because
would be cool.
I so badly, I have this, like, I wish I made toys, because I think having a Funko Mia where like you press the top of the head and her face turns from crazy to normal would be amazing.
That would be cool.
Like, I've seen dolls that can do it. I remember growing up as a kid, like having, you know, He-Man dolls where you press the head and the face changes. Like, I know it can be done. And Funko is so big right now. I'm just like, oh, come on, Mia, and you press the head and her face goes crazy. Normal.
That would be
crazy.
really cool.
Normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm still hoping, and definitely they should really do it, because I think for Resident Evil they only have like a couple of them, but definitely we need Resident Evil 7 Funkos and Resident Evil 8, and yes, that Mia one, that would be really cool. Or it would be also cool that, for example, in the night, change face or something like that, you know? I mean, I don't know how could you do that, but I don't know, that if you flash a light or something, her face will change to demonic or something like that.
Oh, that would be cool. Like almost like a hologram.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be scary, but really cool.
How you look at it. There's lots of opportunity, Funko.
Yes, they definitely. I mean, as soon as we're done, I'm gonna send this interview to them and be like, you know what, we really, they really need to do it. And I mean, there's some. The other day I was watching that like some fans, they kind of create like Resident Evil figures, and so I was like, I mean, there's like a gold mine there and they're not taking it. Why? They really need to do it.
There's so many. I've seen there have been amazing artists out there who have created crocheted dolls from Resident Evil. I'm still waiting. I'm like, how has a plush Lady D not been created? Who wouldn't want to sleep with a beautiful Lady D plush doll just cuddle up next to?
Yeah, you know, I thought that for Resident Evil 8, you know, like the collector's edition, we will get Lady Dimitrescu instead of Chris. I mean, it was cool, but I was hoping that they would put like a Lady Dimitrescu. I mean, that character pretty much hyped the whole game, like broke internet.
I know. You just gotta see. You know they're gonna keep coming out with stuff, so you just kind of gotta wait and be like, okay, what's next? What's next?
Definitely. And tell me, did you have to do some of the voice acting at home due to COVID?
No. Everything was done either pre-COVID or once. You know, we did have to put a pause on things for chunks at a time. So, you know, we were supposed to shoot and then COVID hit. So it had to be put on hold. And there was a lot of working out, like, what could we do? What couldn't we do? What could people be comfortable with? So Capcom, the workhouse, the producers, everybody kind of had to come together and figure out what's the safest way to do everything if and when California allows it. So the moment California loosened restrictions last year and, you know, allowed some stuff, we were able to get back in. They had, you know, such amazing safety precautions put in place. So that as actors, we felt really comfortable coming to set and doing the motion capture. And then also separately, we would have days of just ADR where we go to a sound studio. And even though it was like, you know, everybody had masks and face shields and things were, you know, cleaned thoroughly in between sessions and everything was very spread out. So everything just felt very safe and comfortable. Because when they first reached out, I was nervous. Because again, when COVID first started, nobody knew what was going on. Of course. So it was probably around June, July that, you know, the workhouse and Capcom reached back out saying, okay, we're going to attempt to start this up again. And I I was nervous. I wasn't really sure, but they were like, we're going to let you know what we're thinking, the safety precautions, let us know what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And what was so great is some actors weren't comfortable and couldn't do it, so they were able to just do things in ADR, and they didn't have to do the motion capture side, and some were comfortable doing both. And so it was a really nice balance that they worked with all of us. So the first day I got on set and saw everything that was put into place, I was like, oh, I'm good. Like, I'm more comfortable here than I am at the grocery store. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it was really, really nice. It was great seeing everything that had been worked on previously, had been researched, had been collected. They had so much gear for us. They had masks and gloves and face shields and antibacterial. Like, there was so much to make everyone feel comfortable when we worked. So it was amazing. Yeah.
And how the process of doing mocap work during COVID? I mean, I'm pretty sure that they were just how was that working? Were you guys like being tested every now and then, or?
So they were really good. They had it set up where they had scenes with usually it was you and one other actor. And what was nice was those scenes where out of the two of you, only one of you needed to have facial capture. So the other one could leave a mask on and a face shield on the entire time, if need be.
Okay.
So it'd be me working with one other actor, and they needed my facial capture. So my mask would come off when they said action. We'd do the scene. As soon as they yell cut, my mask goes back on. We worked with the director, and like directors, like they were all on iPads. Everybody was, zooming in from other parts of the world and country. Yeah. So, they had worked all the scenes out. Luckily, I think the big scenes with a lot of actors were done pre-COVID, luckily. Yeah. So when it came down to it, the scenes that needed to be finished during COVID, they were able to do with 3 or less actors, which was very helpful. And they spaced us all out. And even on set, they had spaces for us to have our downtime in that was all spread out from everyone. So it was really, really good, really comfortable, very safe. So
that's really cool. And how was working with the rest of the cast? I mean, did you guys fool around between takes? I mean, the other day I asked Paula, like, if I were wearing like a spandex suit, and I would see that like Velcro, that if I put my hand in something, it's gonna like, I would be just playing around, like, every now and then, like there's no take, like jumping or stuff like that,
Well, it's not, that's the key. Like, it's a spandex suit, but it's not a spandex suit where like you could jump on a Velcro wall and stick to it. Like, it's not that type of suit.
That would be okay. I thought that it was kind of it.
I imagine that's what you're imagining. Yeah. So it's not that kind of suit. Like, it's definitely Velcro, and they're able to put all the markers on you. But for the most part, pre-COVID downtime was just sitting around, hanging out, talking about just being normal people. Like, talking about sports, talking about what's going on, talking about families. Like, a lot of these actors, like, we have families, so it's like, oh, what have you and the kids been up to? I mean, it's just normal life. And then once COVID hit, it definitely was different, because instead of, all sitting around on a couch together, we're now all spaced out 20 feet apart from each other in our designated areas. So it was definitely a little bit weirder in that retrospect, because like Todd and I would have scenes together, and this is somebody I worked for years with on one game and then started this game with, and now we're back in it, but like, we can't even hug hello. Like, it was very strange having to be apart and just be like, hi, like, how are you? So you're from a distance, you're trying to talk to each other, but at the same time it's awkward. So I feel like this second half of working on this game was a little bit more, being in your own space, listening to a podcast, reading a book. It wasn't as much, because in the old ones, like, you literally sat around with multiple other actors all hanging out talking. This time, they have to spread everybody out. So, I'd be next to Todd, but the other actor or two actors maybe on set that day would be in a different space. So, like, you couldn't even chat with them. So it was very different. It was different doing it. But what I love is that everybody understood that, but we all still got to do little things. So now that the game's come out, everybody is now reconnecting. So there are so many actors I didn't get to meet because Mia didn't have scenes with them. Yeah. So now that the game's out, I'm creating friendships and getting to meet these other actors who were part of this amazing game that I didn't get to witness all of. So that's been really, really cool.
Cool. And actually you did like a live stream, right? With all of the actors?
Yeah, we did a reunion a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So almost all the actors who are in LA were able to be on it, which was really, really cool. And then we had a couple of actors who were in different states or overseas, streaming. Yeah, so that was really fun. And that was nice to do for the fans and even for us, because we didn't get to do, a wrap party. Like, sometimes with something this big, you get to do a wrap party when it's all done. And we didn't get to do that because of COVID. So this is kind of our version of a wrap party. That's and so get to hang out and have pizza and drink. And, people were coming into the stream and talking, and then people would leave and chat outside and hang out. So it was just, basically we just invited everyone to be part of our party, which was really fun. That was really cool.
And I think that is also like the fact that we can do like all this, like for example this interview on live stream and everything. It makes like everything much easier, so
it's so different. I mean, I never could have imagined this
absolutely.
Just a few years ago.
yeah, totally. And as I said, I mean, it's a lot easier. And I think that for you guys who are acting and everything, it makes you like to be more close to the fans and everything, which is really great as well.
Oh, I love it, because I haven't been able to have the chance to do cons or anything like that. So just being able to do these virtual cons or live signings or just streaming and interviews has been so fun to see fan reactions, fan comments, just all the love and the feedback and the excitement for everything. It's been so cool to be a part of, and it just makes me more excited for what's to come as the world slowly opens up. Like, I'm so excited for the chance to meet people in person, because online, everyone has been so kind, so gracious, so amazing. And I'm like, I just want to meet people in person. I'm so excited for that day where I get to like shake someone's hand and they're like, oh, this is my online name, and I recognize it. Like, oh, it's so nice to officially meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that at some point once everything's open, that will be awesome, that the fact that you can interact now in person with some of those people who are having on the live streams and everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Now let's see what happens. Now you're also a makeup artist, and we can see some of your work on the movie Alone in the Dead of Night. Now in some of your posts on Instagram, we will see like that kind of skill or creativity. So tell me, where does this passion started?
That starts from my parents. That starts from my family and Halloween. I definitely grew up in a very creative, Halloween loving family. My parents, before, I'm one of 6 kids, before they had any of us, when they were dating, like, they showed us costumes that they created and the makeup that they did with them for costume parties when they were dating, and it was always like epic and all out.
Yeah.
And then once they started having kids, it was the same thing. When you're from the Midwest, you're working and you have all these kids, buying a pre-made costume is too expensive. So it's all about creating
Making your own.
it from scratch. Yeah. So I grew up with that instinct of like, I want to make this from scratch. I want to create this. So my parents did that for us. I mean, I remember my parents making a Barbie and the Rockers outfit for me when I was like in first grade, I think. And it's just that idea. I think they basically took like an Elvis type costume and like pieced it together with Barbie and the Rockers stuff. But it was just that idea of like, be creative. Just be creative and you'll be amazed at what will happen. And as I got older and older, I just was like, oh, I want to try more things. And my mom was always great with, okay, let's try dyeing this and see what happens. Let's stitch this together. Like, we just got creative. And then in college, I got more and more into makeup. And then beyond that, I started watching Face Off, which is a special effects reality show that was on for many years. And they never fully taught you how to do special effects, but they gave you just enough insight where you could then go and kind of teach yourself, start to learn a little bit more. I had a makeup place near where I live, so I started going there and asking them questions and buying things. And I just started doing it for myself. And then one year for Halloween, I was like, okay, my goal this year is to make my own prosthetic. I don't want to buy it. I want to make my own prosthetic.
Wow, okay.
Let's see what happens. And, I worked for months on the smallest prosthetic because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, of course.
It took me a long time, but I did it. And I was Curious George, and my husband was the man in the big yellow hat. And it's probably the most proud I've ever been of a Halloween costume.
That's so cool. And you did also a Mia cosplay, right?
I did last year for Halloween. Yeah. I had somebody ask me to send a video, so I created an infected Mia cosplay. So I do have that in my bag, but now I need to figure out how to create a Village Mia cosplay.
I mean, you did mention that in one of your interviews that it was kind of funny to now this Mia is wearing like a grandma sweater and a Hawaiian shirt, and that's it.
She is. She's so. Now, granted, if anybody ever wants to be super comfy doing their cosplay, Mia is the way to go. Yeah. Village Mia. You will. She's wearing slippers, khakis, a baggy shirt, and a grandma sweater.
That's it.
So comfortable. So comfortable.
Yeah.
Now I just need to piece that all together, because when I start live streaming me playing the games, I'm gonna have to wear that.
Yeah, so. That would be really cool. That would be really cool. And at the same time, that is gonna be awesome because it's like super comfy. So,
I just have to wait until it's not 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, if someone wants to do like a comfy cosplay, that's the one. That's
Village Mia. Way to go.
Absolutely. Now also on your Instagram profile, there are so many awesome landscape posts. Now tell me some of those awesome places you have traveled and which one is your favorite?
Ooh, that's hard. I definitely have the traveling bug. I love traveling. I love seeing other places. I love seeing other cultures. So, I actually hold dual citizenship with Ireland. So that is probably my number one place that I love going back to. Yeah. We have family and friends there. So I love going to Ireland. That is like my number one. We've been to Japan, I've been to Japan, which is incredible. Traveling all over the US. Right now, the biggest goal and thing that I've been working on is hitting all the different national parks.
Okay.
So my sister used to work for Yosemite, so that's kind of what started it off. I started camping in Yosemite like every year for quite a few years in a row, and I just was like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. I love pitching it, you know, a tent and having my stove and waking up early with bundles of clothing and like cooking on my little propane stove or wood fire. I just think it's so cool. I grew up camping, so I love it. So yeah, Yosemite was amazing. Joshua Tree I've done. I just did Zion. So those are the pictures you've probably seen recently. I just went to Zion for my birthday, and that was, I was blown away. And I only really did like a day in Zion. I'm looking forward to when things calm down even more and going back there again and doing so many more hikes, because there was so much to do. Yeah. It's incredible. So right now I'm kind of like, okay, what national park do I want to hit up next? Yeah. I'm working on the West Coast, so I'm hoping to have Glacier National Park soon. That's kind of the next one on my list. It's Glacier.
That's so cool. Now, also in that gameplay you had with Nicole Tompkins and Paula Rhodes, you did also mention that you were planning to go to Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, Jamaica. My husband and I, we have a really good friend who actually lives in Jamaica, so we were hoping to visit him a couple years ago, and it just didn't work out. So, you know, we were like, okay, well, let's push it and do it X year. And then COVID hit. So it's like, okay, let's push it again. So we'd love to do it. We're hoping this year will work out, but if not, next year. So the hope is to head to Jamaica for, a couple days to hang out with our good friend who I haven't seen in a while. Last time we saw him, he came to visit us here. He's from Ireland, came to California to visit us, got a job in Jamaica, now is living there. So we're hoping to see him soon.
That's so cool. But at the moment, until the Jamaica trip, your plan is to visit all of the national parks.
I think Jamaica will happen before all of the national parks.
Good point.
Jamaica is probably the next big one. Jamaica is probably the next big one on the list, but it's been put on hold because we haven't been, able to go on flights in so long.
Yeah.
I'm hoping later this year, once there's a little bit more, everything's opening back up, flights. I know people who are taking more flights and it's more comfortable. So probably later this year, we'll be able to do Jamaica. I just want to be out in the sun. Yeah. I just want to lay out in the sun for a while with a fancy drink.
Now for that one, you could use the Hawaiian shirt.
Exactly.
Maybe not a grandma sweater, but the Hawaiian shirt.
Mia in Jamaica.
There you go. There you go. The Jamaican, the Hawaiian shirt, khakis, and the flip flops. You're pretty much good to go.
Then I'm set.
Definitely. Now, also, in one of your interviews, you said that you're a horror fan.
I am.
Now, what horror movie would you recommend at the moment?
Oh, geez. I just saw the new Conjuring, and I definitely liked it. It's my biggest thing with horror films is never go into a horror film with any expectations. It's horror. Okay. It's supposed to be set in, a different realm, something you don't know. So never go in with expectations. So I had seen the first two Conjurings, and I definitely like those. I know they're based on true stories. So this one I was really intrigued about. I was like, ooh, I want to see this. And then knowing that this is based on a real story, like you can read books and see films about that specific story, I was like, okay, I definitely want to see this. And I was like, I really, really enjoyed it. It was scary at times. It was fun. Like, it was freaky. It was just kind of like keeping you on your toes, like, holy crap, like this really happened.
Yeah.
Wow. So, that's the most recent horror that I've watched that I really liked. If we're going old school, I am when we talk about horror that's going to legit scare you or scare me personally, Phoebe and Jason those are like my nightmares. I love them.
Yeah.
But to this day, those movies still give me nightmares. Like if I'm going to watch a Freddy or Jason movie, I know I'm going to like be scared and have nightmares and need to like cuddle, because like Jason Myers, Halloween doesn't do it to me as much, but for some reason Freddy and Jason have always been my Achilles heel. Those are the scary ones.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally agree with you. My older brother, back when I was very little, one night he invited all of his friends, and then they watched like a horror movie marathon. And of course, me being little, I pretty much was just curious and discovering the world. And Freddy, It, they watch all of the horror movies, the Exorcist. They just watch like a lot of that stuff. And even to this day, every now and then, when I'm with my brother, I will tell her like, dude, you pretty much ruined my childhood, you know that. And then he's like, yeah, but it was worth it for real. I would do it again. I was like, yeah, okay. Because
that's just how it is. My big thing, my goal is every October to find new horror films that I haven't watched before and watch those. So like through the month of October, I am just, okay, I have classics I'll watch, but I am on a mission to find like new, good, scary movies that I can watch.
Have you watched the movie Babadook?
I have.
That was really cool. I mean, that was a really cool movie though. The whole psychological thriller horror. That one was really cool.
Yeah, that one is definitely freaky. I liked that one. I actually really liked Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It came out 2 years ago, and it followed the books that I grew up with. Like I love reading Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I thought those were such fun books to read. And when they came out with this movie, I was really excited to see it. So I actually went and saw it in theaters, and I thought they did such justice to it and the different stories and what it was. So I was really impressed with that one, which is kind of a random, scary movie, but I liked that one. I'm trying to think of any new ones I've watched. It's always around Halloween that my list comes out of what to.
So definitely when Halloween is coming, we need to stay put for any possible. Yeah. Okay, we'll do. You're here. Yeah. All right.
My costumes, my makeup, and my movies all come out at Halloween time.
Exactly. Perfect. And hopefully for your vacation in Jamaica, we'll get a hashtag vacation Mia.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Now, I want to know, I mean, what drives you? I mean, you have done like so many amazing things. I mean, besides Resident Evil, like the movies you made, like tell me what motivates you and where does this all creativity, good vibes, everything comes from?
It's kind of like what I said before. Everything that motivates me is the audience. It are the fans. The reason I got into this, the reason I enjoy, I know it sounds sappy or it might sound fake, and I don't want it to, but I just, I love doing things for other people.
Yeah.
And so the idea of creating art that is for others so that they can step away from their lives for an hour or two when they're just, they need to just step away for a little bit to have that little bit of downtime, relaxation, a breath of fresh air. If I can help be a part of that, that's why I do this. That's what motivates me. So when I'm having, bad times where maybe I'm not booking stuff or not working on things and I'm starting to get down about, is this the right career choice for me. Should I still be doing this?
Yeah.
I think about that and I'm like, I have done things that people go to for their enjoyment. And then I book one thing where I go, this is why I'm doing this. I remember of, okay, this is why I love doing this so much, is because I'm bringing joy to other people. Whether I'm terrifying them, making them laugh, making them smile, freaking them out, whatever it is, I'm giving them something else for just a little bit, just so that they can have some enjoyment for half hour, whatever it is. I love being able to give that to people. And it's an honor. It truly is an honor to be able to do that, to say that my job is to make other people happy, you know?
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, as I was saying before, that you pretty much brought back a franchise to life with a Mia character. That, like all of that amazing stuff. Yes, I totally agree with that, and the fact that you want to make people getting away a little bit from all the COVID and all of the issues and the problems and everything, and that you can bring that happiness or stressful or terrible moment, but in order to distract them. I think that is really awesome, and at the same time it's inspiring, because it does help, let me tell you. And you're doing a super job, because yes, while somebody else is playing Resident Evil 7 or 8, you pretty much get distracted from all of those issues. And personally for me, I have to say, like a personal experience, the fact that I got laid off of my work a couple of weeks ago, but being like playing Resident Evil 7 and 8 and doing like this kind of interviews and everything, that pretty much gets distracted from the whole problems, and be like, let's just keep the mind busy. And what better way to be away from the problems while being chased with demonic Mia with a chainsaw,
It's so true. But it is. I mean, absolutely. This is especially during this time when so many people, like the whole world went out of whack, and my world went out of whack. So I'm just happy that I had one thing that was able to keep me somewhat grounded, that now is able to give back to people who are like,
of course,
everything went crazy, but I can enjoy this, or something to look forward to. And I love being able to do that. Like, that's really, it's the best part of this whole experience.
Yeah, and you're doing it fine. As I said, you better keep doing this amazing super job, bringing these awesome characters, because yes, you're definitely doing it. And as I said, it's really inspiring and really awesome, the fact that you are bringing all of these characters, and that you can tell that you're putting like your heart and your all of 100% of you on those characters. It's really awesome. And any advice that you can give to upcoming actors or people who want to start something new in their lives?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is to go for it.
Yeah.
And not to give up. There's going to be a lot of rejection no matter what job or industry you're wanting to get into. There will always be a lot of rejection. It's not personal. It's just what they're looking for. So if it's something that you truly feel passionate about, something you truly enjoy, keep at it, because it will come. I mean, it's taken me years and years to get to this. It's taken a lot of downs to get the ups. So my biggest advice is stick to it. If you really don't find the love anymore, that's when it's time to let go. As long as that love and that passion is still there, no matter what other people say, stick to it. Because it's when you're saying, I don't enjoy this anymore, that it should change. So until then, just keep doing what you're doing, love what you're doing, enjoy. The biggest thing is life is short.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy life. Enjoy all of it.
Yeah, of course.
We only get so much. So it's just be happy. Be happy with who you are. And if you're not, reach out, talk to people, find a way to be happy with your life, with yourself. That's just, I mean, that's why we're here, is to be happy and just to remember that.
Absolutely. Wow, that was really inspiring, by the way. No, but
It's how I feel. It's what I have to remind myself of at times, you know? You just have to remember that.
Yeah, and it's hard. I believe that it's hard that whenever you feel down, we all have those days, and to motivate yourself, it's hard because the slightest thing happened that it happened the way that you didn't want it, you feel bad again, and you pretty much stop doing things. And I agree. I would say that maybe that COVID taught us that what better way to enjoy life every second. I mean, you never know, so it's better if you focus on the things that you love the most, and just do things, you know. And I also, before we finish, I also want to say that thank you so much, and your work, Katie, it's super amazing. As I said, I mean, I can go all day saying like thank you for being this awesome person. Keep being that awesome person, because for sure whenever something bad happens through the day, you can check her Katie's Instagram, and you will see like a lot of fun stuff, and you'll be like, okay, that's cool. Absolutely. So yeah, I want to say thank you also for those who tune in, and keep being that amazing, that awesome person. Hopefully we will have more Resident Evil, more Mia. Hopefully we also definitely fingers crossed. And we get those phone calls as soon as possible, like really. And yes, please do. That would be really cool. If they're watching this at some point, better.
Hit up Funko.
Absolutely. So yeah, Kate, again, it was really awesome meeting you, having this talk, and yeah, keep being that amazing, super cool person.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you reached out. This was awesome. This is so much fun. I love doing this. Chatting with everyone, answering questions. It's so much fun for me. I'm very grateful, you know, that the RE community and everyone like yourself have, you know, wanted to get to know us and wanted to see what else there was to the actors, which has been really cool. And I'm very grateful for all that. And, you know, everybody who chimed in today, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out. And this Friday, I have a live signing. So I'm going to be doing another live streaming, answering questions and signing autographs for everyone. So that'll be a good time. And yeah, it's just the biggest thing I can just say is thank you. This has been a dream come true for me, and seeing the feedback from everyone, what you guys like, what you guys are looking forward to, that makes such a difference. So I'm very, very grateful, for sure.
Perfect. So yeah, so thanks again for those who are watching. For those who are watching later, definitely follow Katie like right now. Maybe stop watching this, follow her on Twitter, also Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you follow her, and then come back to this video for sure. And yeah, again, thank you, Katie. I look forward for another awesome interview with you, and I'll be seeing everyone on the next one.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Perfect. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye, everybody. Bye.